Yeah.
Okay, American Horror Story fans, season 6 Roanoke just ended this week, and I think I said in a previous video recap that this was my favorite season of all time. The finale, though, was a little mixed. Tony, what did you think of the finale? You loved it, right?
I do, and I want to be very clear. I loved it even despite its faults. It just entertained the hell out of me. And the fact that they went so far with the meta aspect, I mean, there was not a television news format that went untouched.
Mm-hmm.
We had no format was safe. We had the kind of the 48 hours true crime mystery segment at the beginning. Then we get the Lana Winters / Barbara Walters special in the middle, and then the Ghost Hunters section, and then the breaking news part at the end. It just, even when it's ridiculous, which there were moments that were clearly ridiculous, and I think there are still a couple of questions that I want answered, but in terms of just pure enjoyment, I just enjoyed the hell out of this season. It just made me so happy.
And Rob, you're the opposite, right? You said this is the worst episode you've ever seen in your life.
No, that's not true at all. Although, episode 9, after the amazing run of 6, 7, 8, I thought, oh, this is going to get better and better. I am so excited. Episode 9 was a downer for me. I just didn't really buy it, and I was like Snapchatting with Tony a few days ago, and I was saying, I don't get it. And how did Adina Porter's character become like the bad one? I think I just might have missed something. Maybe I just had a lapse.
She ate the heart.
Yeah, she ate the heart, but it seemed to come out of nowhere. So I was getting a bit worried. And then the finale aired, and I was just like, every break, I thought, what on earth are they going to do next to top that? And then they do. And then they had another, like, you couldn't really call them acts because they didn't really it wasn't like a very traditionally set out, episode. It was just kind of a bananas, ridiculous, super entertaining. Some of it really worked really well, like the Lana Winter stuff I just loved. And the end was kind of like just, I don't know, at the end of it, I was on the edge of my seat. I was kind of scared. There were some scary bits, especially with the Spirit Chaser stuff. That was really scary. And I just thought, well done, Ryan Murphy. Like, although it wasn't perfect, I felt it was very entertaining, and there's nothing like that on television. And at least, I went along for the ride.
Sounds like you hated it to me. It wasn't perfect, you're right, but it was so fun to watch. And what did you think at the end where they got away from all of the different storytelling devices and we actually were in the house for the first time, like seeing them not through the guise of a camera, but we were just seeing them? What did you think of that?
That bothered me. That bothered me a little bit. That bothered me just a little bit. I really kind of wanted them to carry it through, and I'm not quite sure how they would.
Well, the Ghost Chasers had cameras in there, so they could have easily.
Yeah, they could have. That house was rigged. How many times throughout the season did they say this house is rigged with? There were so many cameras. It was like the house is going to fall over from the weight of the cameras, and they could have done that. What they were doing, in my eyes, were the whole season was subverting the way in which you would experience a TV show by different cameras and different this and different that. And then at the end, they were just like, okay, we're going to do away with all that and now subvert the subversion. And so it was constantly just like, it was like an Ouroboros, and just like, it was one of those symbols that was just eating itself. And it just got so confusing. And I was like, am I now watching this through a camera, or am I watching this as real life? I didn't even know what the hell I was watching, and that was all part of it. It's like, let's just confuse the crap out of the audience because we've done it so many times already. Why not do it at the end in the least confusing way? Because we're just watching a TV show now.
Right. I mean, this was the found footage season where everything we were watching was like found footage, and then all of a sudden, for the past, the very last 5 minutes, they kind of get rid of that format. I think they should have maybe tried to stick it out, because it took me out of the moment. I'm like, oh, this isn't found footage anymore. We're actually watching them, in the house.
Yeah.
I used to work at the Paley Festival and the Paley Center, so it was very, very fun seeing, the first 5 minutes of the episode with the whole cast, everyone who's been killed off. They were all there, and seeing the crazy audience members. I've been in American Horror Story panels before where the audience member stands up and says, "Can I get a hug?" Stuff like that. So it was very meta to me, and I just loved the opening scene.
Yeah, with people with pig head costumes in the audience, you know, so distasteful, and talking about the ratings and how successful it was, and like people were being killed and slaughtered. But that was a side issue. It was more about how did it go with the 13 to 49 demographic. Like that was more important to them than people's lives. It's just so it's
and
so
the
disgusting.
YouTube videos were so just kind of. It was both kind of like a smirking and winking, and yet totally like flipping the bird and a lot of this stuff, which just made me so happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you put in your recap, Tony, that this season was full of fear and gore, but it was also very meta and had a lot of laughs.
I kept laughing. Especially, you know, one of the things that I was not sure about was, you know, how was this finale going to work? I mean, when you have this combination of the docuseries at the beginning and the found footage, you know, for the second half, just the fact that they really ran with this whole kind of, you know, satirical idea. And really executed well. I thought particularly like the Ghost Hunters section. I mean, it's lit. It was lit like the way those shows are done. I mean, down to the the silly hosts. I mean, it just hitting those beats perfectly. That it did kind of only disappoint me a little bit at the end when we didn't get that all the way through, but. I want to know what Ryan Murphy's, if the whole idea of this season was just to be so tongue-in-cheek, if that was the goal from the beginning.
And scary. I think this is the scariest season they've ever done.
Scary. Yeah.
The way they balanced that was really impressive. The funny aspects and then the frightening aspects. The very last shot is of one of the townspeople, you know, walking up on a cliff and looking over. Are we supposed to take something from that, or is it just saying, you know, this will continue after the show's over, these ghosts will keep coming back?
Yeah, that didn't make it. That was one of the things that was really confusing to me. I was like, okay, so that's the last shot. Who is that person? I mean, you see all the torches down in front of the house. So who is that person in the back?
Was that the witch? Was that supposed to be the witch?
Could it have been the witch? Could it have been? I thought there was something vaguely Kathy Bates-ish about that figure, you know, but
yeah. So. I think that the point of that to me was that this is just going to continue going on, and like even though it seems in American pop culture at the moment, unless it's on a reality TV show, maybe it's not even reality. And I think Ryan Murphy to me was saying, okay, so all the TV shows are going to be over, but this is still going to keep happening every time we have a blood moon, and regardless of whether it's going to be shown in a found footage TV show with really, really great ratings. I think he was, again, just having another dig at the way in which culture seems to be going. I mean, I think obviously he's an extremely smart guy, and as are his writers and directors. Not only was his tongue-in-cheek and funny and extremely scary and gory and sometimes hard to watch, it was really smart. He actually did have a few really pointed things to say about society, I think. And I know maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I always do that. I've got a bad habit of doing that. But I think he was doing it throughout this whole season. That's why I thought it was so special.
Yeah. Who do you think most deserves to win an Emmy Award? We ran a poll, and the poll results by far say Kathy Bates deserves to win. Second place, Adina Porter. Third place, Sarah Paulson. What do you guys think?
Well, I think Rob and I kind of disagree on this a little bit. I certainly think that Kathy Bates is, you know, certainly the front runner at this point for in the supporting category. I thought that this episode in particular really gave Adina Porter a lot to work with, and I especially think the last 10 minutes, even, you know, it wasn't maybe filmed the way we expected. She had some that scene with Flora it was just, I thought, capped off a really just interesting arc for that character. And not being as familiar with Adina Porter as other people, she was the one that surprised me. And I think that the fact that she's listed in the credits as a guest star.
Yeah, what's that about?
That's crazy.
I read a theory that and if it's true, this is genius on Ryan Murphy's part, but he didn't want people to know that she was essentially the main character of the season. So by calling her a guest star, it kind of, at least for me, I kept waiting for her to die. Like, oh, you're a guest star, you're going to die off, you're going to die off. Instead, all of the series regulars died off, and the guest stars survived.
Yeah, again, subverting. It's just subverting our expectations. That's what this it should be called, American Horror Story, subverting your expectations, because that's what he's always doing, and that's what Adina Porter, that's what I think completely was all about. I think I'm not criticizing Adina Porter's performance, because I've been watching her for many years, and I know how amazing she is as an actress. For me, it was her storyline, even though it became the main storyline, was the storyline that I didn't care about least, which is relatively speaking, because there was a lot of stuff in there that I absolutely really loved. And then when it got to the Flora and Priscilla stuff, I was like, okay, whatever. So maybe that's why I think for me, Sarah Paulson is the MVP. Once again, everything she does is amazing, but she was excellent. And when I saw Lana Winters in the finale, I was just so excited because of my love affair with Asylum, and she was so good as the British actress. That was just the most ridiculous character on TV. This ridiculous in a good way.
She played really three characters. I mean, she played Shelby, she played Audrey, the actress, and then she played. Yeah,
she's insane.
Yeah, she's so good. I disagree with you though on Adina Porter. I know you just hate her, but I loved her. I loved her this season. She was, for me, the standout breakout role. But
yeah, she's good.
But Kathy Bates, and was it episode 7?
Episode 7,
where she's down in the cellar.
Yeah,
she's doing like the Smeagol Golem thing, basically, where she's the butcher, and then she's Agnes, and she goes back and forth between those. I think that's the best she's ever been, including Misery. I think that's the best.
Oh my God, that's a big call.
I know.
That's a huge call. I think for Emmys as well, Angela Bassett deserves a directing nomeration for episode 6. And obviously Ryan Murphy and his team of writers, whatever episode they want to submit, just go for it. But really, once the show hit episode 6, it just became this other thing, this other very, very interesting concept. And I think they delivered. And even though that finale was insane and I didn't know what the hell they were doing, it kind of, it was very fun, wasn't it?
I just love the fact that this season seemed to do something that none of the other seasons have done, in terms of like a really serious kind of commentary, and really using satire in a way that I've never seen this show do. I mean, the show's been campy, the show's been over the top, sometimes to its benefit, sometimes to its detriment. But in this case, bravo to do something original, even when it didn't always work, even with the flaws. I applaud it for trying something legitimately different than I think it had ever done before.
Right. So what are your guys' final thoughts on American Horror Story Roanoke? I'll start. It was my favorite season ever, and I really liked how they kept everything quiet beforehand. We didn't know what it was about. We didn't know who was going to be in it. And so going into that first episode, I was like, especially coming off Hotel, I wasn't sure what was going to happen. And episode after episode after episode, I was just drawn in, and I just loved this season.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was definitely the best season, and that's saying something. And I was very disappointed in the beginning, as I said before, and it improved so much for me that it became like something that I looked forward to. And there's not a lot of shows on TV where I get that, where I actually like think, is it American Horror Story tonight? Quick, let's get in front of the TV, and that's great. Like, and sometimes we say about shows, why don't they just go for it and give us something original and different and exciting? And they did that with this, and maybe it wasn't perfect, and there was some bits that didn't work, but who cares? Because at least they've gone for it and had a go. And I really hope that anyone who may not be so satisfied with this season at least gives that some thought, that we can't just always be seeing the same old thing every year. Like, let's see some stuff where they're being daring, and they definitely were daring in this. And so I really congratulate them on delivering that, because it was a real treat for us.
Yeah, and the bar is raised for season 7. You know, they've got 2 ways they can go. They can go back to the old formula, or they can continue to try and do something really new, really exciting, and maybe even make it better. You know, this was in many ways a very experimental season, and I think the experiment was largely a success, and I hope they build on that and don't just settle back and go, okay, we've done that. Do something different, take a chance, make it appointment television, which for the most part it was this season.
I want to see a season in space. That would be awesome.
That would be great. Wow, that's a good idea. Okay, there you go.
There you go.
Thanks everyone for watching. We will see you next season, I guess, for American Horror Story. But no, keep coming back to Gold Derby. We want your predictions if you think it's going to get in at the Golden Globes. So go ahead and vote in our prediction center. Okay, bye.